Good morning, good morning. I love that buzz. It's actually one of my favorite things when, as a professor, coming into a classroom and hearing that conversation going. I hope you're making new friends. I'm Audrey. I'm the president of Reed College. And just to be clear, because when I've been meeting some of you, you've called me President Bilger. You know, I'm hardly ever called that because we go by first names here. So I'm Audrey. But if you were wondering, Bilger. Welcome, parents, families, loved ones. We are so happy to see you here. And just a quick poll, are you in favor of the rain or against it? All those in favor of the rain? How many of you would rather have some sunshine? You know what? If this were a faculty meeting, we'd have to start counting. So it's kind of a good balance. That's nice. It's not a thing that we fight about. I want to just note that we're midway through the fall semester, a little past the midway point now, and there's a kind of rhythm to it. I want to just give you a couple of highlights from my week this week. On Tuesday, we had cookies and hot cider in my office for Halloween. And this is my favorite story of the semester. I wore a sort of costume. I had a sorcerer's hat, a wand, and my PhD gown, which I recycle every year for a costume of some kind. Last year, I was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I had a collar, glasses. So this year I was a sorceress, and I had a wand. And so my shtick was, when I saw students, I would say, "Your wish is granted." And I did this to one student, and she said at first, "Oh good, the homework in my backpack is done then." But then she paused and said, "No wait, I want to do my homework." And that's when I thought, Reed student for sure, right? That is a signature move. So especially for those of you who are the parents of first year student, you know that students start out a bit nervous. I think we all do, really. I know some of you might have jobs that are in semesters or quarters, so you know you start a new one, it's like anticipation. But there's excitement and this sense of fresh beginnings that we get every year. And then people get comfortable in their courses. There are midterms, which actually, by the way, go on really from the second week. Anything I think that's not a final gets called a midterm. So the students are writing their papers. They're deeply engaged in their studies here. And then we've just come back from fall break, and they dive back in, and then you get here. I know that as you're visiting with your students, you're making deals with them. They are saying things like, "Okay, I can see you at X time. I've got to study until then," right? And that is definitely a feature too. Most often, if they're putting you off at all, it's for the library or their thesis or their homework. So you know they're doing what they're supposed to be doing here, which is good. And now then, as we get to this place, it's sort of, I describe it sometimes as like a roller coaster. You go up and up and up, and then going toward the end of the semester is just a wild rush. So as we come up towards the holiday, Thanksgiving at the end of this month, and then coming into finals, it's a sprint. And so these rhythms are rhythms I've lived with for most of my life, actually, and professionally. For over 30 years, I've been at small liberal arts colleges. And in my view, the community that we have together, the way that we go through these rhythms together is profound. There was a point in my life as a professor at the Claremont colleges when I taught yoga to students on the side. I did an actual PE class. This was kind of midway through my time there. I thought that would be fun. And it was nice to be in that role and to be able to have the students, find some quiet and stillness in the middle of this, and not always be the one giving them more work and causing them more stress. But at any rate, here you are at this point in the semester, And I know that as you've been meeting with people here this trip, and also if you were able to come with students for orientation either this year or last year or 3 years ago, you know that we're very committed to helping your students succeed. We have an academic program that is challenging, and we do ask a great deal of our students at Reed. We're sort of famous or notorious for that, depending on how you look at it. And at the same time, our faculty are deeply committed to helping the students find their way to success in the courses. So we set challenges, and then we provide the tools to help our students rise to those challenges. I hope that some of you were able to attend some of the sessions yesterday, because you got to see maybe some of our faculty talking about their research, talking about Hume 110, for example. What's really powerful about the model we have at Reed is that we have faculty who are themselves deeply engaged in research in their fields. They're excited about that research, and they're also committed to teaching. And so they bring the students in to that excitement about learning. Many of our faculty will say that research is teaching is research. These things are intertwined. And I believe that is true and experience that myself as a liberal arts college professor, because we're engaged in this learning adventure. And whether it's the work that we're doing as we're putting ideas together, putting things on the page, working in the lab, making artistic productions or performances, there's just this spirit that we're creating all the time. And then as we impart that knowledge or the skill sets that we have to our students, we learn from them. And there's this continuous learning cycle that is going on all the time at Reed. Something I've noticed here more than any of the other liberal arts colleges where I've been, and I've been at several, is that the high quality of our faculty attracts brilliant students. Your students are amazing. And simultaneously, your students are brilliant, and they attract these brilliant faculty. So there's really so much going on that is collaborative here at Reed, and it has to do with a mutual kind of energy. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that our students are also attracted to each other. They're really wanting to be engaged with bright students who care about learning and creating knowledge. So as you've been exploring some of the features of the curriculum that our students experience, the Hume 110 session yesterday, how many of you were able to be in that session? Or those sessions, right? A good number of you were. And so you were able to get a sense of what a Hume 110 conference is like. For us, that's one of the features of the college that, again, it's always in a state of continuous improvement and discussion, and yet we want that humanities core to be part of what students experience in their first year at Reed, and they experience this together with a common syllabus, and then they have small sections where they're able to engage with one another and with faculty members. And the conference model, which is very similar to what we would call a seminar, but it's very much about co-creating knowledge together with the idea that everyone's voice helps to contribute to whatever anyone is going to learn. Early in my own teaching, as I learned, when I first went to Oberlin, I'll just note for a moment, when I first went to Oberlin as a new PhD, what I thought I was supposed to do as a college professor was lecture. I thought I was supposed to do what my graduate professors had done, which is to put together a brilliant lecture, tie it with a bow, and then, maybe take questions, right? And it didn't take long for me to realize that's not working. And it was a struggle for me because those were some good lectures. And it was hard to give that up. And there at Oberlin, it was the first time I learned about decentering the classroom, having more interaction as ways of enhancing the knowledge that everyone had. And that's when I really discovered the magic of teaching, right? Because if I'd stayed in that lecture mode, honestly, it's what we call in pedagogy the banking model. You give the information in, you ask for it back. Give it out, you ask for it back. You know, I can understand why many faculty at certain points rely on yellowed lecture notes, right? Because that's not going to be alive and interactive. So here at Reed, the model is one of who's in the room? What do you bring to this? And that's something that I think makes this a dynamic space and creates this energy that is exciting. So if the first year at Reed is shared experience of humanities with exploration of some other possibilities for students in their search for a focus and what they're going to drill down into later. As they get into their sophomore year, we want to provide opportunities for exploration even beyond the classroom. And so especially in the sophomore year, we're working to help students find internships and fellowships. Although a first-year parent asked me, are there internships available or opportunities available for first-year students? Absolutely. I think that there's even more that we go through in the sophomore year to help our students think about their purpose and to explore what we refer to as the community of purpose, which is a matter of not what do you want to do, what kind of job do you want, but rather what sort of area of purpose do you want to find yourself in? And so in some ways this is topics. It could be topic-oriented, somebody who knows they want to do something in healthcare or health policy, or somebody who knows they're interested in doing something to think about addressing the climate crisis, or wanting to promote dialogue in the face of conflicts. And so these communities of purpose help the students kind of come into a zone, and then internships and fellowships can give them a chance to go deeper and try things on. When they get to their junior year, one of the focuses here will be the qualifying exams. The way that these are structured are to help the students feel a sense of expertise as they prepare then for the senior year, where all Reed students will be writing a thesis. How many parents of seniors do we have in the room? Yes, and so you know, this is what they're doing, right? They're writing their thesis. When I see seniors, I'm always wanting to ask what they're thesising on. It is a verb, indeed. And then, get a sense of what it is that they're excited about. Anyone who's ever embarked on a long project like a thesis knows that at the outset it is daunting, right? And you're thinking to yourself, how do I get to that big thing, and how will I ever make it across that graduation stage? And so here I will say that I think our faculty are remarkably good at helping our students bite off the small pieces to get to that big project. And for you, as you're talking with your student about the thesis, just know that the question that you don't ask is, so, how's your thesis going? Instead, you can say, tell me more about what you're figuring out this week, right? What are the big questions that you're approaching? Those are some good ways to talk to your student about thesis, and just know that it's normal if they might want to be like, I don't want to talk about it, right? Because that's the sort of dialectics of writing and doing the work that goes into a thesis. As students are in their senior year, the other question that you don't ask is, so what are your plans after graduation? Okay, maybe, in a rare instance, there's a student who, start to finish is like, this is what I'm going to do, this is who I'm going to be, this is what's happening after. Just know that's rare, and also that we understand that it's worrisome to you, right, what's going to happen next. And so we seek to help students figure out what will be their next step, with the realization also that that next step might be the beginning of several different moves that they'll make in terms of their career paths. It's become a cliche even to say that our students now will be doing jobs in 10 years that don't even exist now, maybe even in 3 years. I don't know, the sort of the speed up of change that we're experiencing in the 21st century is extraordinary. And so what I do feel confident about is that a liberal arts education is all about exploration. And it's about finding resources to not get lost, I'd say. So what I mean by that, not get lost. For all of us in the interval that we've gone through these last few years, you probably know some people in your life who got really lost, right? You get lost without the markers. What is it that we were doing with our lives when we were shut down? If you were somebody who had books or films or ideas to explore, conversations, friend circles, you weren't lost, right? So our hope, our hope is, it's the leaves. They give me little allergies, but our hope is that our students will have lots of stuff to take with them on their journey. And that stuff will be ideas and big thoughts about what it means to be a human being. They might explore music or art or dance. That may be what they do for their career, or it may be something that informs how they live their life after they leave Reed. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight that this is a model that is precious. And I was talking with some parents about the headwinds that we face in liberal arts education, because there are so many detractors right now. And people who want to say that the only way to measure the value of the education is in how much people make after they leave. Well, while we do know that we want our students to live comfortably, we also want them to live well. And so, I hope as you're connecting with your students at breaks and seeing them as they are in this really foundational period of their lives, that you can see how they're growing and changing based on all this stuff that's coming into them. My wife likes to say that Reed students are exactly the kind of people you want to sit by on a long plane ride, right? Because they've got a lot to tell you and a lot to bring back out into the world. So I just want to say a few more things about the ways in which we care for your students. Here at Reed, we think about the students holistically. We have an amazing student life team. I know you've gotten to meet some of them over the past months even. But we offer tutoring, academic coaching. We have a lot of online resources, including an online writing lab and study skill resources. Our Center for Life Beyond Reed has an abundance of online tools that students can connect with, including the handshake tool that will connect them to internship opportunities, job opportunities. So the holistic piece of this is our way of saying that we don't just care about students academically, we care about them as well-rounded human beings. So we also are fostering their participation in student clubs. There's so many clubs. In community engagement programs, in social activities. There'll be music events out in the quad, or crafts events, or snack events. So lots of fun things for students to try to help them put down the work as they go through the school year. And then we also offer mental health resources, both in person and online, so that we can meet students where they are in terms of their needs. Reed is home to a diverse group of students, faculty, and staff, and this is an important priority for me and for the college, that in this diversity, we're able to figure out how to talk across distance, how to see each other clearly for who we are. And a thing that I will note is that Reed and most institutions of higher learning were built for specific audiences at different times, and watching Reed evolve in the 21st century is really watching Reed move from being, I think, an especially privileged kind of institution to being an institution that recognizes that privilege is a responsibility, and that to be the most diverse and inclusive community we can be is good for everyone. It's what our students want, it's what the staff we bring in want, it's what the faculty want, right? Nobody wants to be in a monologic or monolithic kind of culture now. And so I'll note too that this is not always easy work. If you think about your own situations, you might note the amount of ways in which we tend to spend a lot of our lives in segregated spaces, segregated by our interests or our identity or our race. And to bring a lot of students together from different backgrounds, different countries even, together, and put them on a 24/7 residential campus, and whether they're living on or off campus, this is a hub for everything that takes place here, and then expect it all to be simple and harmonious every single day is unrealistic. I think that higher ed takes a lot of unfortunate criticism for the times in which there are disruptions on our campuses, and in my view, the more that we're able to work through those difficult times, the better off we'll all be. But I also just want to say that it's expected. We need to take those difficult moments as learning experiences as well. And so the commitment that we have is to belonging, that the students belong, thrive, and flourish. We've begun to use those three words, belonging, thriving, flourishing, as ways to help set our expectations of what we're going to be doing to bring students in together and to feel this sense of being seen, which is what belonging means, to feel that someone sees you, they hear you, they value what you bring to the table, the cultural wealth that we all bring from our experiences and our lives, that they're able to thrive, giving them the tools to get from point A to point B, to understand when they feel overwhelmed that they're not alone, and then to flourish, that is to feel this sense, as I said, of not being lost, of having resources to go out and to do great things in the world after Reed. So there's work that we're doing. We prioritize diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racist work here at Reed. It comes up in classes, it comes up in communications and discussions, and certainly in the work that our student life team does to support students. What we know is that we bring incredible students every year. Among the amazing things about being on a college campus is that every year there's a new set of students coming in, there are new opportunities for growth and development for all of us. So just a couple of things before I close. I wanted to note, as many of you may have been following, our House advisors voted to unionize, and as I'm saying, there are disagreements. We can figure things out, but we've just gotten the official certification. We're going to enter into negotiations with the union reps. It's a new thing for Reed. We're not alone in being a small college that now has a student group that's unionized, so I and others are in contact with other colleges to get a sense of how to do this really well. What we know is that the ways that the House advisors are organized doesn't change the important role they play in creating a community of care here at Reed. And I'll say that as we're bringing students in the coming years, and with the student team we have now in the House advisor roles, we ask that they prioritize student health and well-being. And so as we work out the logistics of what the labor agreement will be, I feel confident that your students will not experience this as something that will reduce the sense of the services they are receiving and the support that they're receiving. It's important also that I think we all recognize that the House advisors are there and around when students are most vulnerable. And so we provide them with the support and the training to do this difficult work well. There's never a situation where the House advisor is on their own to figure something out. They know who to call and who to bring in. And so that is an important note that I wanted to make. I also know that we're all mindful that the conflicts in the Middle East right now, the trauma that community members are experiencing, the trauma I believe the world is experiencing from this, are causing tensions at colleges around the country. And it is my hope that Reed can find the ways to speak across difference and with empathy, with understanding, with compassion. We're seeking to approach this with kindness and care as we do everything, and also with no tolerance for anti-Semitism or anti-Muslim activities on campus. So we also are facing big activities and big things that are taking place in society. It really is a myth that colleges exist as an ivory tower. We are in the world is here with us. And at a time like this, I, for one, really feel the weight of the world around us, which makes it all the more important to be engaged in an environment where we say we believe in the power of human beings to figure things out. We believe that knowledge matters. We believe that critical thinking and questioning matter. We believe that we can disagree and we can find ways to talk across those disagreements. So the thing that I feel every day when I get up at Reed is to say, this is a special place where we're doing important work, and I'm honored every single day to be Reed's president. I have hope for the future. It's one of the features of working with young people is that you hope for the future, because here they are at the launching pads of their lives, and we're helping them find their path. And I believe in them. And as I believe in them, I believe that we have a bright future ahead, because they will go out and contribute a great deal. We say often that the world needs more Reedies, and I know everyone in this room would agree. So I thank you for your time, and I'll be kind of around if people have questions, but for now I'll just close and say that we're very grateful to you for raising these brilliant students and for sending them to us and trusting us with them. Thank you so much.